Welcome to this, the Mathematics Guru examination, end of term 2. That is the predictor for KCSE this year 2022. It was prepared, and I've tried to go through the section A to make a marking scheme and explain how you are supposed to answer the questions for those who have seen the paper. For those who have not seen the paper, I shall put it in my website and attach the link to the video on the comment section. And if you get the link, you'll be able to get the paper and try to do it. And then don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that anytime I put a new material into the channel, you are able to get a notification and get the content in real time. Follow me to the end, and I hope this will assist you in passing mathematics. Question number 1. The question was saying that a composite number between 11 and 21 exclusive, between 11 and 21 exclusive, are arranged in descending order. Descending, it means from the largest to the smallest to form a number P. And then we also have prime numbers between 0 and 10 are arranged in ascending order meaning from the smallest to the largest to form a number Q. So we express the total value of the third digit of P minus 4Q squared in standard form. So first of all, you need to understand what we mean by a composite number. A composite number is a positive integer with at least one divisor other than 1 and itself. If a number has more than one divisor, one or more divisor other than itself, and 1, then that's a composite number. For instance, now between 11 and 20, if we started in descending order from the largest up to 11, so we start with 21 is exclusive, so we start with 20. 20 is a composite number because it has more than one divisor apart from itself and 1, like it has 4, it has 5, it has 2, it has 10, and so many of them. 19 is not a composite number because 19, apart from 19 itself and 1, there is no another divisor for 19. So it is not a composite number. 18 is a composite number because it has more divisors. 16 it is, 15 it is because it has 3, 5, and several. 12 it is, and 11 is not. 11 is not because apart from 11 and 1, there is no another divisor for 11. And therefore, this is the number formed here. It is called P. And if you count the number, it will be, if you count 3, so that we add, we have commas, so that means it will be, that number will be, if you are reading the number, you put a comma there, 1, 2, 3, you put another comma here, 1, 2, 3, you put another comma here, you realize this is 3, this is another 3, that makes 1 million, I mean a million, and then another 3 makes another, those are around 9, so it is a billion, that is 2 billion. The number is read as 2 billion, 18 million, 161,512. So, and then we also arrange that is to form a number P. To form a number Q, here, it is 2. Remember, we are forming Q from prime numbers between 0 and 9 in ascending order from the smallest. And when we talk about a prime number, it's a number only divisible by 1 and itself. A number divisible by 1 and itself between 0 and 10. We start with 2. 2 is a prime number. Is divisible by 2 and 1. 3 is by 3 and 1. 5 is a prime number and 7 is a prime number. 9, those have more divisors, so they are not prime numbers. So this is the prime number. The number formed here is 1, 2, 3 is 2,357. So you are asked P minus 4Q squared. So it is Q which is squared. So it will be P which is the number we got there, minus 4 times the 2357 squared. So you get the number, this is what you get when you multiply by 4, you get this number. So when you subtract, you get, this is the number you get. And we are asking the total value for the third digit. First, second, third. This is the third digit. So you write this third digit 9, the rest becomes zeros. You write the zeros. So if you count it in standard form, you need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that you write 9.0. So the answer becomes 9.0 times 10 raised to power 7, because you've gone from the right to the left, you go to the positive 7, power positive 7. So that is what you were supposed to get as the answer. That's what you were supposed to get as the answer. So we continue and proceed to question number 2. Question number 2 is talking about a square floor of a room is to be covered by a rectangular slabs of dimension 0.5 meter by 0.42 meter. Find the smallest number of tiles that can be used. The smallest number of tiles that can be used. What we need to know, first of all, let us convert this to centimeter so that we make a whole number. 0.5, we know that 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeter. So this 0.5 times 100 gives you 50 centimeter, times 100 gives you 42 centimeter. We find the LCM of 50 and 42. I've used this factorizing method. If I factored out whichever, if you use a tree diagram, you will still find the LCM as 2 times 3 times 5 squared times 7, which gives you 1050 as the LCM. So the number of tiles is the least number of tiles. We now 1052, the LCM you got, divided by 50 plus 1050 divided by 42, which gives you 21 plus 25 gives you 46 tiles. Those are the number of tiles that were required, the least number of tiles that were required. Then we go to the next question, that's question number 3. The question is talking about we solve the value of n. We solve the value of n. Solve the value of n in the following equation without using calculator or mathematical table. So what we were supposed to do, this can be expressed in the base of 2. 128 can also be expressed the base of 2. 256 can be expressed the base of 2. For this one, we can have base of 2 power 5 times 5 gives you, because 2 power 5 is 32 times 5 gives you 160. So I've expressed in that format. So we shall be having 2 now. This is 2 raised to power negative 5, because 2 power 5 is 32. So 2 raised to power negative 5 times negative 2 raised to power 5 times negative n gives you 2 raised to power negative 5n, or over 5 power 2n times. This is like divided. When it's divided, it is 2 power 7 to or over 1. When we multiply it, we reciprocate, so it becomes times 1 over 2 power 7. Times 1 over 2 power 7, which will be equal to, this gives you 2 power 8 divided by, that is all over 5 times 2 power 5 raised to power 6n, the way it is. All this raised to power third, because the cube root is the same as the power of a third. So when we open this one, when we open here, it will be 2 power 8 over 3, because a third times 8, it gives you 8 over 3, 2 power 8 over 3, all over 5 times 2 power of n raised to power, this times this gives you 2n. That is a third times 6n gives you 2n. So raised to power 2n. So that when we shall open here, it gives us now, if we open now the lower, it gives us 2 raised to power 8 over 3, or over 5 raised to power 2n times 2 raised to power 10n. It gives 10n equals to the left hand side as it was. So we multiply each side by 5 raised to power 2n, so that we remove times 5 raised to power 2n like I've done here, so that 5 raised to power 2n cancels here and also cancels here. So we remain with 2 raised to power negative 5n times 1, which gives you 2 raised to power negative 5n, or over 2 raised to power 7 equals to 2 raised to power 8 over 3, or over 2 raised to power 10n. So that if we cross multiply, it is 2 raised to power negative 5n times 2 raised to power 10 equals to 2 raised to power 7 times 2 raised to power 8 over 3. Because the bases are the same here, we add the powers. So it will be, the powers are added and the bases are the same, so we ignore the power, we equalize the powers. So we shall be having negative 5n plus 10n equals to 7 plus 8 all over 3. 5n equals to, we add this, you get 29 over 3. So that n we divide by 5 all through. This is the same as 3 times 5, which gives you 15. It will be equal to all times 1 over 5. Times 1 over 5 all through, all the two sides. Both sides times 1 over 5. So it gives n as 29 over 15. 29 over 15. We proceed to question number 3. Question number 4. It's saying that the sum of interior angles of a regular polygon is 207.5 times the size of each exterior angle, So meaning, if you say that you let the exterior angle, if we let the exterior angle to be x, meaning that the sum of interior angle will be 207.5 times x, that is 207.5x. That is, if we let each exterior angle to be x. So we have been asked to find the size of each exterior angle. And we know that the sum of interior angle formula is 2n minus 4 into 90. And if you open it, gives you 180n minus 360 as the formula of finding the sum of interior angles. So if the exterior angle was x, we know that to find the number of sides n equals to 360 divided by each exterior angle. To get the number of sides of a regular polygon is the sum of exterior angles, and the sum of exterior angle of a regular polygon is 360 divided by each exterior angle. In this case, each exterior angle is x. So that it means that 207.5x, like I said, equals to 180n minus 60. But n is 360 over x. So 180 into 360 over x minus 360 gives you 287.5x. So 287.5x equals 2. You multiply, gives you 64,800 over x minus 360. We multiply by x all sides. We get, if you multiply x here by x, this gives you 287.5x squared equals to 64,800, because the x here will cancel, minus 360x. So that this forms a quadratic equation. If you rearrange it, it gives you 287.5 x squared plus, you bring this at the left hand side, plus 360, you bring this to the left hand side, minus 64,800 equals to 0. So that's a quadratic equation. I have solved it using the formula method. That is minus x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared plus 4ac over 2a. That is 2a. A in our case is 287.5 times 2 gives you 575. And our b is positive 360, so minus b, it is negative 360 plus or minus b squared, that is 360 squared, you get 129,600 minus 4ac. Because here there is a negative and there is a multiplication, it becomes a positive. So plus, when you multiply 4 times 287.5 times 64,800, you get 74,520. So out of 575, so your x becomes, the square root of this gives you 86. You add the two, you find the square root, you get 640. So negative 360 plus or minus 640 out of 575. So you if I take the addition, negative 360 plus 8640, it gives me 8640 minus 360, which gives you 8280, divided by 575 gives you 14.4 degrees. That is the x. Because each exterior angle, it is a positive angle in this case, because we are dealing with acute angles and the angle less than 180, because exterior angle plus interior angle gives you 180 degrees. So it's positive angle. If we go the negative side, we will not, we ignore the negative. So our x, the value of x, the exterior angle is 14.4 degrees. You can prove, if you substitute 14.4 degrees here, you'll get they'll be equal. You can try that. So we go to the next question, that is question number 5. The question is saying that use squares, square roots, reciprocal, and cube tables to evaluate the following. So the first step in this, because it is cube root of 14.41 squared minus 15 all over the square root of 0.9642. So the first step is to find this from the table. If you open your table, you'll find the square of 14.41 to be 207.6481. Then we cube all that, minus 15 all over the square root of, for we to find the square root, we write into standard form, but it must be in the multiples of 2. So because square root is like power a half, so it must be in the multiples of 2. So that is why I said it is 96.42 times 10 raised to the power negative 2. That so that we are now able to find that if we make the power of a half, this is the power of half, and this one 10 negative 2 power of half, so that we shall be finding the square root of this from the table, and that gives you 9.8194. Then this one half times negative 2 gives you negative 1, so it is 10 power negative 1. So that is what you find. And the cube root, for you to find the cube root from the table does not have the table. We don't have tables of cube roots, but we have tables of cubes. If you check on tables of cubes, you look at the mid row, you look where we have 207 point around 6 there, you'll find a 5.92 to be having something close here. So that it becomes the cube root of this number. So if you find the cube root of that as 5.92, then now minus 15 all over 9 point all this. Now we find the reciprocal, because we've been told the tables of reciprocal. So we need to find the reciprocal of this. So it is 15 times the reciprocal, it is times 1 all over 9.8 times 10 raised to the power negative 1. And we know the reciprocal of 10 negative 1, it is 10 positive 1. So 10 positive 1 times 15, because we multiply by 15, gives you 150. So we shall be having 5.92 minus 150 times the reciprocal of now 1 over 9 point, that is reciprocal of 9.8194. You check this from the table, reciprocal of 9.8194, you check from the table, you get at 0.1018, then times 150 gives you 15.27. We subtract from 5.92 minus 15.27, you get negative 9.35, and that becomes the answer. Now we proceed and do question number 6. The question number 6 was talking about, I know most students failed this question, but it's a very simple question, because it's talking about given that 24 sine of theta minus 7 cos theta equals to 0, find sine theta sine of 90 minus theta without using mathematical table or calculator. So the first thing we have to do is to write 24 sine theta equals to 7 cos theta. 24 sine theta equals to 7 cos theta. That is if we take the 7 cos theta, the right hand side, so we shall get 24 sine theta equals to 7 cos theta. We divide by 24 in each side, so that we remain with sine theta equals to 7 over 24 cos theta. So if we divide by cos theta all sides, the cos theta and cos theta cancels, and here we remain with sine theta over cos theta equals to 7 over 24. Sine theta over cos theta equals to 7 over 24. So when we have this sine theta over cos theta, we know from the tangent that we have learned even in form 2 and form 4, we know that sine theta over cos theta equals to tan theta. Sin theta over cos theta equals to tan theta. Therefore, tan theta equals to 7 over 4. So if tan theta is 7 over 4, we use SECA. So we are talking about TOA, opposite of adjacent. So you draw a right angled triangle, you call this theta, and therefore this, because this is 90, and therefore this becomes 90, because whatever was remaining to make 180, if you subtract 90, here the two angles add up to 90. So here is theta. Therefore, this is 90 minus theta. So you look for the SECA. Now we are talking about theta. The tan of theta is opposite to this theta. Opposite to the theta is 7 now. All of adjacent to the theta is 24. So we find the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse becomes 24 squared plus 7 squared square root, which gives you 25. So meaning that sine of theta minus sine of 90 minus theta, it is so. Sine of theta, that is we talk about so. So sine of theta, equals to opposite of hypotenuse. So sine of 90 minus theta, the opposite to 90 minus theta, it is 24. That is the opposite to 90 minus theta is 24. So opposite is 24. All of our hypotenuse in this case is 25. So that becomes the answer. The sine of 90 minus theta is 24 all over 25. So that becomes the answer. We proceed to the next question. That is question number, we are going to question number 7. Question number 7 is talking about a point R, which is 3, 6, is given a negative 3/4 turn about 1, -2. We are used to rotation about the origin, but in this point they are telling us that it is a rotation of point 3, 6 about 1 and -2. That is the point of rotation. The center of rotation is 1, -2, followed by a reflection. So after that rotation, you get the first image. Then after the reflection, you get the second image, followed by a reflection along a line y equals to mx plus c to form. It's supposed to be to form R2. To form R2, that is the second image of -2, 8. Find the equation of the mirror line. You find this equation. So what you need to understand is that the -3/4 turn is the same as -270 degrees, or we can say is the same as +90 degrees. And for +90 degrees, a point AB rotated about xy becomes -b plus this x, the center of rotation, plus y, comma, a minus x plus y. That is a formula you need to understand. A formula you need to understand that if you are rotating about positive quarter turn, this is a positive quarter turn, positive 90 degrees, we say it's a positive quarter turn, and a positive quarter turn is the same as a negative 270 degrees or a negative 3/4 turn. So this is what gives you the image, and therefore meaning that R36, it was to form the first image R1 to be now -6 plus the center was 1 plus -2 is the same as -2, comma, then it becomes 3, the other one becomes now A, now A is in this case is 3, becomes 3, then 3 minus the center, that is minus we said minus x, so it is minus in this case 1, then plus, it's supposed to be plus 2, -2 plus -2 is the same as -2. So -6 plus 1 gives you -5, and -5 minus 2 gives you -7. And 3 minus 1 gives you 2, 2 minus 2 gives you 0. So our second image, the first image was supposed to be -7, 0. And then the second image, we are told, after it has undergone a reflection, it becomes -2, 8. That is the second image. But you understand, if this was the line of reflection, y equals to mx plus c, if the point -7, 0 was here, it was reflected through here. And remember, the line of reflection is at the mid drop between the 2 points, because the distance from here to the line of reflection equals to the distance from here to the second image, to the image. That one we know from the laws of reflection. And therefore, if this was the line of reflection, and you have a point -7, 0, to give you the image here, we need the line. The line is perpendicular. The line is perpendicular to the image line. The image line, and when you change these, they are perpendicular. And when they are perpendicular, the gradient here equals to, that is m1 times m2 gives you -1. So we can easily find the gradient of this line, because we have this point and this. The gradient becomes negative. First of all, we can find the midpoint, because the midpoint is the point whereby this image line will pass through. So we can find the midpoint, and we know the midpoint is x1 plus x2 all over 2 into comma or y1 plus y2 over 2, that is negative 7 plus negative 2 over 2, 8 plus 0 over 2, that gives you negative 9 over 2, negative 4.5, and 4, that is the midpoint here, and that is where this line, image line, will pass through. That is where the line of reflection will pass through the point, negative 4.5 and 4. So the gradient, we use the gradient of this line first of all, so that we are able now to find the gradient of this line. If the gradient of this line becomes negative 8 minus 0, all over minus 2 plus minus 2 minus 7 is the same as minus 2 minus 7 is the same as minus 2 plus 7, which gives you 5. So this is 8 over 5 is the gradient of this line, and therefore the other line becomes the negative reciprocal. So the negative of the reciprocal of this is negative 5, that is M2 becomes negative 5, because they are perpendicular, becomes negative 5 over 8. Meaning that negative 5 over 8, if now we find the equation of this using the midpoint as the point where this mirror line is passing through, so it becomes negative 5 over 8 equals to y minus 4 all over x minus, it is x minus 4.5 is the same as x plus 4.5. So we cross multiply, it is 8 into y, that is 8y minus 32, equals to negative 5x minus 22.5. That is 5 times 4.5 gives you minus 5 times 4.5 gives you minus 22.5. So that if we put like terms together, 8 and remember I want to divide by y again. I want to remain as it was here, as you were given here. That is what I want it to be. So what I'll do, I'll take the 32 the right hand side. If 32, we take the right hand side, becomes plus. So 32 minus 22.5, then we divide by 8. You get it as 19 over 16, 19 over 16. And we also take 8, that is a negative 5, we divide by 8, it remains with negative 5 over 8x plus 19 over 16 gives us as y, and that is the equation of the mirror line. That is the equation of the mirror line. I know the question is somehow tricky, but you have made it so easy for you now. We go to question number 8. State the integral value that satisfies the following simultaneous inequalities. So we have two inequalities, those are simultaneous inequalities. 5 minus 2x is less than x plus 12, and 3x plus 1 is less or equal to x plus 8. So we solve this first. If I take the first equation, in the first equation, I ensure that on the left-hand side, I remain with a number. So therefore, I'll take negative 2 to the right-hand side, I take 12 to the left-hand side. So it will be 5 minus 12 is less than x plus 2x. 2x was subtracted, so it goes to the right-hand side, it becomes positive. So this gives you negative 7, and this gives you 3. Negative 7 equals to 3, you divide by 3 both sides, so that you remain with negative 7 over 3 is less than x. So that is your first equation. You go to the second equation, this one, you solve them simultaneously. I now need to have the x on the left-hand side, so I take the x here, I take the number to the right-hand side. I'm just doing that to make my work easier. So it will be 3x minus x, because it goes to the left-hand side, it becomes minus x, is less or equal to 8 minus 1. So 2x is less than or equal to 7. So we divide by 2, we divide by 2, x becomes less or equal to 7 over 2. So 3 all over 7 over 3 is a fraction. So that gives you around 2 point something. And 7 divided by 2 gives you 3 point something. So we don't include decimals on the integral value. We take only whole numbers. So because it is 2 point something, we start with negative 2 as one of the integral number, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, because the upper was 3 point something, so we take and 3 as the integral value. So these are the integral values. Integral value do not include decimals. Do not include decimals or even fractions. That's what we mean. So we go to the next question, number 9. Number 9, it looks tricky, but it's a very simple question. As the figure was, you could see how the figure was, because I've added some interpretation on the figure. It's saying that the figure below shows a part of a circle which AB is the diameter. This AB is the diameter of the circle. And BC is a chord of length, 4.9 centimeter. Angle BAC is 30 degrees. We have an angle 30 degrees here, and O is the center of the circle. O is here, is the center of the circle. So if O is the center of the circle, the first thing, because we know when we talk about arc length, you can find the arc length, this is the arc length, and this is the chord. We must use the angle must be subtended at the center and not where it is subtended. So if we're finding the area, because there are two ways of finding the equation, the shaded part. If we were finding the area of the shaded part here, because that's calculate the area of the shaded segment, we are asked this segment shaded. If we were finding the area, we use the angle subtended at the center, and the radius, the length from here to here, that is the length from here to here, which is the radius, to find the area of the sector. If we find the area of the sector and the area of the triangle, we subtract the two, we shall get the area of the shaded part. But remember, we can not use 30 degrees because it's not subtended at the center. So we need to find the area. That is why I've joined from C to the center, so that I get the angle subtended at the center. And you realize that from the center to this, because the whole thing is a diameter, AO is the radius, and therefore as well as OC is the radius. And if the two are radiuses, that means this side and this side is equal. This gives you an isosceles triangle on this other side, the isosceles triangle here. And for an isosceles triangle, we know that base angles are equal, so 30 degrees is also 30 here. And remember, this is a triangle which adds up to 180 degrees. And therefore, we can easily say that this angle is 180 minus 60, which gives you 120. Angle on a straight line add up to 180, and therefore, this angle becomes 180 minus 120, which gives you 60 degrees here. So if now you have 60 degrees, and you have the length here, which is the radius, you can easily find the area of this sector. But remember, you don't have the radius. I have given a formula of length of a chord. To find the length of a chord, we say it is 2r sine of theta over 2. So the length of a chord, I have it so that I find this radius. You find this radius. So if I know that the length of a chord is 4.9, it will be equal to 2r sine of 60 divided by 2. That is 2r sine of 30 is 0.5. 0.5 is the same as a half times 2r. 2 and 2 will cancel, so r equals to 4.9 centimeter. So you realize that from here to here is 4.9. From here now you are done. You can now get the answer. Because you can use area of a sector, theta over 360, theta over 360 pi r squared to find the area of the sector. And then you also have half AB sin theta, that is half times 4.9 times 4.9 times the sine of 60 to get the area of the triangle. You subtract the 2, you get the area of the shaded. If you use that formula, you'll get the same answer as well as using the formula I've used, whereby I have said that the area of the segment, that's minor segment, because there are two formulas, the minor segment and the larger segment. If you go through the mwalimogeke.co.ke, that is Mwalimu Ogeke YouTube channel, I have done area of a segment using two formulas. You can go through there and see what I have done. And therefore, area of a segment is this formula, r squared over 2 into brackets theta times pi all over 180 minus sin theta. That gives you the area of a segment. So area of this segment, our r is 4.9 squared over 2 into brackets, our theta is 60 times pi, which is 20 over 7 divided by 180 minus sine of 60. So it is this one, when you multiply and divide by 2, it gives you 12.005 into 60 times 200, 60 times 20 over 7 gives you 188.57, divided by 180 minus sine of 60 is 0.866. So 12.005 equals to, when you divide this, gives you 1.0476 minus 0.866. So 12.005, you subtract, you get 0 times 0.1816, gives you 2.1801. That to 4 significant figures, because you must answer the question as asked. You are asked to 4 significant figures, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. This cannot change, so it becomes 2.180 centimeters square. That is to 4 significant figures. So that is the area of the shaded part. You can use the other method and see whether you get the same answer. The next question is question number 10. A Kenyan charity organization received some donation from United States in US dollars. It received the money in US dollars. The money was converted into Kenyan shilling in a bank which buys and sells currencies as follows. So this is the buying and this is the selling. The charity spent 70% of the money to buy a van and 120,000 to pay school fees. The rest of the money was converted to Japanese yen. If the organization received 1,872,258.50 yen from the bank, determine how much donation to the nearest US dollars the organization received. So after converting the rest, the remainder, this is what remained, it was converted to yen. And after converted to yen, this is what was received. This is the remainder of the after every expenditure. So we let the money donated to be X Kenyan shillings. If we let to be X Kenyan shillings, so the money that was spent, expenses, we have 70% of the money to buy a van, so it is 70%, that's 7 over 100 times X. There was also 102,000 that was used, so plus 102,000. So it gives you Kenyan shillings, 0.7x plus 102,000. So that is the money that was used. That is the money that was used to, for expenses. So the remaining amount was X minus the expenditure. Ensure you have this bracket, because if you fail to have the bracket, then remember there is and this will change this to be negative. So it's good to have this bracket always, so that the money that remained was X minus now 0.7x, then minus 102,000. So when you do that, it gives you 0.3x minus 102,000. That is the money that remained in Kenyan shillings, and then converted to yen. It was converted to yen. Now you have the Kenyan shilling, and you are taking the Kenyan shilling, you want the yen. That means you are going to, the bank is going to sell to you the yen. The bank is not going to buy, because if you go with the foreign currency to the bank, that is when the bank buys from you. But if you go with the local currency, you want the foreign currency, the bank is selling to you. So if it is selling Japanese yen, 100 Japanese yen is sold at 93 shillings. So it will be now the money that will remain. If we say that 100 Japanese equals to 93, what about what remained? So what remained, we divide by 93 times 100. So it is 0.3x minus 102,000 divided by 93 times 100. So that if we are multiplying by 100, if you multiply by 100 here, we cross multiply. We can, okay, all this, or whatever you get here, because if you multiply times 100, whatever you get is equal to the money that remained here, because it is in yens. So this yens equals to 0.3, it was supposed to be minus, okay, it's supposed to be minus, not plus. So it is minus 102,000 out of 93. Remember there is times 100 here, which I forgot to have, times 100. So there must be times 100, because there is this 100. So the 100, if it was to add here, it became 102,000 times 100 and times 100 here. So this 100 changes everything here, and there is a minus here. It's supposed to be a minus and 100, so that it becomes it becomes all over 93 times 93 times 93 cancels here, so that this times 93 gives all this 174, this number. Then there is also an 100 that was supposed to be here, so that it gives us, it's supposed to give us 1, that is times 100 is supposed to give us 30x. It's supposed to be 30x. You are supposed to get 30x plus, minus 102,000 times 100. You add 2 zeros. So all these to be equal to, so we take this, the left hand side, it will be added. It's supposed to be added on the left hand side, so that if it was supposed to be added, you get a bigger number here, which equal to 30x, so that you divide by 30 at both sides, you get a different answer. This will not be the answer if you now proceed from where I have left. This will not be the answer. So let's proceed to the next question, question number 11. The question is saying that given that OP equals to 2i plus 3j, OQ equals to 3i minus 4j, OR equals to 7j minus 2i, and OB equals to 2OP plus 3QR. To get QR, it is R minus Q. Find the coordinate of B. So to get the coordinate of B, it is OB equals to, we know it is 2OP, so it is 2, OP is 2i plus 3j, then plus, we know that it is 3QR. It is 3 into QR is R, and R is the 7j minus 2i, then minus Q. Q is here, 3i minus 4j. That is why I have a bigger bracket and the smaller brackets, so that here you manipulate this side alone, it becomes 7. This becomes it is 7j if we put in terms of I, so it's minus 2i plus 7j minus 3i plus, because this negative changes this to plus 4j. So you put like terms together here, you get minus 5i plus 11j. So times 3, that is this one, you open the bracket, is 4i plus 6j, 4i plus 6j, then plus 3 into what you've got the other side. So you open this, gives you 15i plus 33j. So like terms together, it is 4i minus 15i gives you minus 11i plus 39j. So we are asking the coordinate of B. B will be the in coordinate form. It will be 11, negative 11, and 39 in coordinate form. So that is the coordinate of B. We proceed to question number 12. The question is saying that the distance between town A and B is 450 kilometers. The distance between town A and B is 450 kilometers. A bus left A at 8:15 a.m. or 8:15 hours and traveled towards town B at 80 kilometers per hour. So there was a bus here that was moving at 80 kilometers per hour. It left at 8:15 a.m. towards B. At 8:30 hours, a car left town B. So in town B, there was a car that left from this point at 8:30 a.m. towards town A. If the two vehicles met at 10:50 hours, they met at 10:40 hours. They met at 10, determine the speed of the car, they met at 10:40 hours. So the first thing you want to do, this is just a sketch, there is a distance of 450, it started from this side. So we need to find the distance moved by the bus by 8:30, before this other one started. What distance had the bus covered? So it is, we know that distance equals to speed times time, and the time taken, remember, is 8:30 minus 8:15 is 15 minutes, 15 in terms of hours, because we are dealing with kilometers per hour. So it is 15 over 60 times 80, the speed it was moving at, which gives you 20 kilometers. So it had gone 20 kilometers. The remaining distance now is from here to here, which is 450 minus 20, which is 430 kilometers. So that is the remaining distance. That's the distance they will compete. So we need to know the time taken to meet. The time taken to meet from 8:30. The time taken to meet from 8:30. It is the time they met 10:40 minus 8:30, which gives you 2 hours 10 minutes, which is the same as 210/60 in terms of hours, which gives you 13. That is 1/6. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13/6 hours. So the relative speed, we know to find the relative speed. Relative speed we usually do what we call relative speed. We add. If they are moving in opposite direction, we usually add. And we know that to find the time taken to meet is usually, when we talk about time taken to meet, we usually say that the time taken to meet equals to the distance that is they are competing over the relative speed. This tells you that to get the relative speed, it is the distance that they are competing, in this case, which is 430, over the time taken to meet. So our relative speed equals to the distance divided by, distance is 430, divided by the time taken to meet, which is 13/6. Now when you multiply, it will be 430 times 6/13, and that gives you relative speed of 198.46 kilometers per hour. If that is the relative speed, and if we let the speed of the car to be x, they are moving opposite direction, so that means 80 plus x gives you 198.46, and therefore x is 198.46 minus 80, which gives you 118.46 kilometers per hour. So that is the speed of the car. That is the speed the car was moving at. That's the speed the car was moving at. So we continue to question number 13. Question number 13 looks very tricky, but it was talking about we simplify. So the first thing you want to do is to look for a common factor in the numerator. If we look for a common factor in the numerator and the denominator, we can see there is a 3. 3 can divide 12, can divide 18, and can also divide 12. So 3 is a common factor, and also y can go all through the 3 parts. So we have 3y in the numerator, and the denominator can also have 3y. So if we have 3y, can factor out to be 4y squared, because y remains with just y squared, then minus 3 goes to 18, 6, and x and y, xy, then minus 4x squared, minus 4x squared, because y cancels, all over 3y goes to there, 4y squared minus x squared. So we shall be having 3y cancels, so we remain with 4y squared minus, when you factor now, this is what you have got, that is 4y squared minus 6xy minus 4x squared. The sum here is negative 6, and the product is 4 times minus 4, which gives you minus 16. And the factors in this case becomes negative 8 and 2. Negative 8 times 2 gives you negative 16, and negative 8 plus 2 gives you negative 6. So those are the two factors. So we substitute here, and you get, instead of xy, negative 6xy, we put negative 8 and 2. So it becomes 4y squared minus 8xy plus 2xy minus 4x squared, all over. If you factorize, this is a perfect square, a perfect or difference of two squares. We know that we know from the principle that a squared minus b squared, we say it is equal to a squared equals to a plus b, a plus, that's an identity, a plus b, you cross the brackets, a minus b is the same thing, a minus b. That one we understand. From this principle, as long as this has a square root, there has a square root of its a and a square root of b, and there is a minus, so which is the same here. 4y squared has a square root of 2y, and the x squared has a square root of x. So it becomes 2y minus x, 2y plus x. So that when you factorize the upper part, it becomes, that is, we common factors, the 2 here, it's 4 and y. 4y into y minus 2x plus 2x into y minus 2x. so that it gives us 4y plus 2x, y minus 2x, all over 2y minus x. I have not cancelled here. We have not cancelled here, so do not cancel. That is 2y minus, because they are not similar. 2y minus x into brackets 2y plus x. So that when you go further, you can factorize this further with a 2 common factor, 2 into 2y plus x, 2 into 2 goes here, 2y plus x now, 2 into 2y plus x into y plus minus 2x, all over the denominator remains as it is. So the denominator is supposed to remain as it is, there is a bracket, denominator remains as it is, so that is the same as now 2 into 2y plus x, like I've said, y minus 2x, all over 2y minus x, 2y plus x. Remember now this you can cancel. After cancelling, we remain with 2 and what? We shall have remained with 2 into brackets y minus 2x, that is y minus 2x minus 2x, y minus 2x, you cross the brackets, into, it remains with 2y minus x, 2y minus x. So if you have that, you open the upper bracket, it becomes 2y minus 4x, 2y minus 4x, all over 2y minus x. That becomes the answer when you simplify. So that is how simple the equation was, but then you realize so many students failed in this question. So many students failed in this question. It's upon you to reason when you look at the equation. We go to the next equation. The next equation, which is question number 14. Question number 14 is talking about 1,400 centimeters cubed of fresh water of density 1 gram per centimeter cubed is mixed with x centimeters cubed of liquid L of density 1.25 gram per centimeters cubed. If the density of the mixture is 1 and 2 over 15 grams per centimeter cubed, determine the value of x. So first of all, we know that to get the density of the mixture equals to mass of mixture or volume of mixture. And we need to know the mass of fresh water, because the mass of the mixture equals to mass of fresh water plus the mass of liquid X, plus the mass of liquid X. That is plus the mass of liquid L. So, to get the mass of fresh water, we know that density equals to mass of volume. Density equals to mass all over volume. We know that density equals to mass all over volume. If density is mass over volume, meaning to get the mass equals to density times volume. Mass equals to density times volume. So the mass of fresh water, it is equal to the density of fresh water, and we know the density of fresh water is 1 gram, times the volume, which is 1400, and that gives you 1400 grams. And the mass of liquid of liquid L, equals to the volume of liquid L, which is X, times the density of liquid L, which is 1.25 grams per centimeter cubed, and that gives me 1.25 x grams. So the mass of the mixture, we add the two, it's 1,400 plus 1.25x both grams. And the volume of the mixture is the volume of fresh water, 1,400 plus x centimeters cubed. And therefore, because we have, if the density of the mixture, we know the density of the mixture is 15, 1 and 2 over 15, which is the same as 15 plus 217 over 15, equals to the mass of the mixture, which is 1,400 plus the mass of the mixture, we got it here, this one, all over the volume of the mixture, which is that one. So we equalize, we cross multiply, that's 15 into all that, 15 into that one equals to 17 to this one, and that gives you, when you open the brackets, this 15 times 1400 gives you 21,000 plus 15 times 1.25 is 18.75x equals to 17 times 1400 is 23,800 plus 17x. So like terms together, 18.75x minus 17x equals to 23,800 minus 21,000. So 1.75x equals to 2,800 divided by 1.75, so that our x equals to 1,600 centimeters cubed. So the question was very simple. That is the simplest question among all these questions in this paper. We go to the next question. That is the last question of the prediction of section A. The question is saying that 5 men, each working 10 hours a day, take 2 days to cultivate 1 acre of land. The men are sent to work on a 4-acre piece of land at the same rate. The men are sent to work on a 4-acre piece of land at the same rate. After working for 2 days, they are joined by 3 more men. And they started working together now for 6 days. Now for 6 days. How long did they take to complete the remaining work? So we know that men hours day land, so we start interpreting. We have 5, those are the men. Hours they working is 10 hours a day. They took 2 days to cultivate 1 acre. So we are told that after working for 2 days, so they had gone to work for 2 days already, meaning that they had completed 1 acre. And so out of the 4 acres, the acres that were remaining were 3. Because they were sent to do a 4-acre piece of land. So after 2 days, they had completed already 1 acre. So the remaining acres were 3. And the men added were 3, so they became 8. And we are told they were working 6 hours a day. How many days call it x? So for me to get x equals 2, you assume now, if I close this and I close this, I work with 5 and this one. I'll ask myself, if 5 men are doing, assume I don't know about the hours they are working, if I closed this one and I close this one, if I just compare men and days, I say that 5 men are doing 2 days. If they are, whichever land they are doing, but 5 of them are doing 2 days. Meaning, if there are 8 men, will take less days or more days. Automatically, they will take less days, and therefore, it is less over more. That is 5 over 8 times. I come and forget about men. I think about hours. I don't want to know what it is dealing about, but I ask myself, 10 hours, whatever is being done, is done in, if you are doing in 10 hours, you are doing that work in 2 days. So 6 hours. If 10 hours, it is 2 days. 6 hours will automatically be more days. If 10 hours is 2 days, 6 hours, which is less, will automatically be more days. So it is more over less, times more over less, which is 10 over 6. 10 times, forget about this one. If whatever land is 1 acre, is being done in 2 days. 1 acre, 2 days. So 3 acres, it will be more days automatically. So it is more or over less. Times 3 over 1, then times that 2. So all this, if you multiply, you will get 6 1/4 days. You will get 6 1/4 days, and that is the answer. That is what was required. That is the answer of this question. So that's the simplest way of doing that question, but I know majority of the students do not get it correct. Thank you for listening to this prediction. Ensure you subscribe for section B for you to be notified when I upload section B. Thank you and be blessed, and I wish you success in this year's exam. Be blessed. Thank you.